Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and boy howdy, is this ever beautiful. So this is a pre-recorded video. This one I'm planning to release sometime in January. So if you're watching this and going, man, I'm so jealous of where he is. Currently, if you're watching this, I am in Alberta. It is probably minus 15 with about 3 or 4 feet of snow. But today I get to live in a little fantasy world of the south of France, surrounded by olive trees, and we are talking about, are you the hero of your story? What I mean by this, I've done videos very similar to this before, but I think we all see ourselves as either the hero or the villain of our story. And we have kind of a narrative in our head about how our lives have gone so far, where they are going, who our enemies are, who our allies and our supporters are. And basically, we kind of have this idea of where our story is going to end. A lot of people are pessimistic about like, oh yeah, I'm going to be forever alone and going to be forever broke. And, life has just always, shot me down. And sometimes that's very true. Sometimes life has really affected people and knocked them down and made life really hard. Sometimes people have had it really easy. They've had a very good life, very, very few difficulties and trials and tribulations. But I think we all have kind of a story of our lives that we tell ourselves and we perceive. And my story, I'm unsure of what my story is. I would like to think that I'm a hero. I'm a benevolent hero that is somewhat likable, but who knows? Maybe I'm the villain. I don't know. I've definitely self-sabotaged a few times and caused issues that I wish had not happened. I've had tragedy. I've had difficulty. I've had some big obstacles to overcome. And yeah, I don't know if I have any kind of like, the arc of my life is gonna go this way, or I'm gonna end up, on a yacht, rich, surrounded by gorgeous people. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna be one of those heroes that disappears off into the forest one day and just chills, just a quiet existence. But I think it's kind of fun. It's a bit of fun to think about the arc of your life and what role you have played in your life. It also might be helpful in order to like change your life. If you want to change it around and do something different, it could be helpful to sort of see your life as this story, because all of our lives are stories, and how it all plays out. Was there somebody who was really out there protecting you and teaching you, like Gandalf or Dumbledore or someone like that? Or have you had sort of like a wicked stepmother, like out there messing stuff up for you? But I think a lot of times our problems are self-inflicted, or they are exacerbated because of ourselves. Like I said, self-sabotage definitely happened quite a few times in my life. And I can laugh about it now, but man, back then I was just kicking myself and not happy about how it all ended up. But thankfully, hindsight is 2020, and you're able to sort of look back on stuff a lot less serious than you might have been in the moment, because sometimes you're just like, man, I missed it. I missed that moment. That could have been so good. But yikes. Yeah, and I think it also comes down to regret. So I have always tried to live my life without any regret. I'm really conscious of, I want to try new things. I want to do new things, especially if they're not dangerous. Like if it's like eating snails, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Like as long as I don't learn that I'm allergic to shellfish or something like that. By the way, I don't think snails count as shellfish, but I could be wrong on that. But like try new things. I never want to look back on a situation and regret how I acted. And so that's why I try to act with kindness and consideration and positivity, because I don't think you ever regret treating someone nicely. Like even if you meet the most negative and difficult person on the planet, if you just treat them with kindness and you just kind of like roll your eyes and you get through the situation, you look back on it and you're like, well, you know what? I was kind, whatever. She's an awful human being and I don't want to spend any more time with her, but whatever. But if you treat someone really harshly and negatively, because they kind of deserve it, you tend to look back on it and be like, you know what, I should have been nicer. Like, yeah, she's an awful human being, but she's probably going through difficulty too, and I didn't need to make that worse. I don't think you ever regret positivity. I really don't. I think there are moments where you're like, man, maybe I was a little too nice, and now I'm roped into this like dinner or something. But I think it's usually small change, you know? And like, please feel free to correct me if you have treated someone with kindness and it really, really backfired on you, because maybe that's the case with some things. But I feel like in most situations, just acting with a bit of kindness and compassion, you're never going to regret that. But getting short with somebody and getting upset with somebody, that I tend to look back on those things and be like, yeah, not my best moment. So that's just my little 2 cents of wisdom for today. Take it if you want. If you want to be the villain, by all means. Like don't get me wrong. If you really enjoy being the villain of your story and you're like a badass villain, go ahead. There was a moment in our society a few years ago when the Harley Quinn movie was coming out and Suicide Squad, and there were so many of these like films about Cruella de Vil. There was that Cruella de Vil movie. So there were these movies that came out that were just focused on the villains, and it was like, yeah, the villains are cool. And suddenly we realized in our society that the villains were the most interesting characters in all of these Disney movies and in all of these films and stuff. Like the hero was like over there being amazing and killing dragons and stuff, and then you had the villain over here like having this complex story and childhood and like upbringing. So like, who knows, maybe you are the villain and you're a badass villain. But I think you really do get to have a big say in what you want to do and your arc, your story arc. So I think that's really good to know. Like, you don't have this like, it's like that debate over if people have free will or not. I think you do have a lot of say in how you want to look at it. And I also think it has a huge perception on how you live your life. So if you view your life as just a series of events that were out of your control that like knocked you down, you feel helpless and you tend not to do anything to try and make the situation better or improve your life. But if you see it as like you overcoming these hurdles and you working every single day to get to where you want to be, that gives you a lot of agency. And if you believe that you have agency in your life, you will have agency in your life. If you believe that it's all predestined and you don't have any say in where you get to spend your world, then it's all predestined and you're doomed to sort of live out your life in this scripted plot. So I don't know. As someone who like, I enjoy writing and I really enjoy reading, I think it's interesting to talk about like heroes and villains and plot points and how different relationships affect you and things like that. And I think it's fun to kind of look at these things and how they shape your life. And, you know, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like romanticizing your life a little bit and just creating a story that is compelling and kind of makes it more interesting. It's one of those things. It's like shower thoughts. You know, you think about it in the shower, you think about it while you're lying in bed, waiting to go to bed. Just these kind of like occurrences and how it all weaves together. Taylor Swift has this song called Invisible Strings, which is about two people who are destined to fall in love with each other. And one of the lines is, "Isn't it just so pretty to think all along there were these invisible strings tying you to me?" And I think that's really neat. Like, it's a neat concept to think about how, you know, you might be destined for this specific event or destined to fall in love with this person. And all along, there's been this plot line or this invisible string tying you to these events. So that's what you get for being an English major. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think. Are you the hero of your story? Are you the villain? Who are you? And as always, guys, I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. I hope the sun is shining. I hope there isn't 2 feet of snow on the ground. Unless you're going skiing, in which case I hope there's 5 feet of snow on the ground. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. And as always, I will talk to you tomorrow.